Hey, welcome back. Today we are going to put the material on our hand inside of Maya and render it in Arnold. So last time we used Quixel Mixer and we created a texture for our hand. That video took a little while, I realize, so hopefully this video, which is kind of the add-on to that, won't take quite so long to do. If you missed it, you can go ahead and check it out here at my YouTube channel, Putting on the Fritz 3D Visualization, and kind of get caught up. You can see right there that the videos, some of the previous videos are right there. There are also some other videos if you want to check those out as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. All right, so first I'm going to go ahead and bring up Maya. Okay, and here's the hand from last time. I'm going to go ahead and turn the video off of my head. I'm going to take this UVs and I'm going to go ahead and shrink that down by clicking on the tab over here, so I have a bigger work area using my hand. And also, just a reminder, our Maya projects hand project demo is where I put this in the source images, and in the source images my left hand is where all of the textures are for this particular project. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started doing that. So first thing we want to do is we're going to bring up our hypershade right here, our hypershader. Okay, so I'm going to click on that, and the hypershade is this particular thing. So this little green eyeball looking thing up at the top with the white dot in the middle. And right now we don't have any material. Well, actually we do. We have the fingernail materials we made in the previous videos. And then this is the one for the hand. And we're going to take those and we're going to apply our textures that we created to the material so that our hand will take on the characteristics that we want, right? So again, these here, and we'll put them in to this here. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is, for this untitled one right here, I'm just going to go ahead and start with the hand. I'm going to middle mouse button, click on it, and drag it down and drop it down here, okay? And I'm going to select it, and then right up here are the input and output connections. So I'm going to click on that. We can see that this is the output shader right here for our hand. So if I click middle mouse button, drag to the right, kind of set it up like that, pull it out just a little bit. Actually, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. We're going to talk about what we're going to use. All right, so we're going to use a base color, which is going to be the albedo from our hand here, okay? We also have a roughness that we're going to use for the hand. We're going to use a metalness for it, which we actually probably really don't need. There's no real actual colors to it, but we're going to throw that on there too. We are not going to use the AO. Yeah, we're not going to use the AO on it, and I lost it. There it is. Okay, and so we're going to use metalness. We'll use the normal as well, and our roughness for our hand. The ones that are going to really have the biggest effect are the normal, which there doesn't really look like there's all that much on there, our roughness, and our albedo. So let's go ahead and get those 4 materials, textures set up. So what we're going to use is right here on the, I'm going to make this bigger so it's easier to see. So right here, we're going to use the 2D textures. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to select File, okay? And this is our first one. And we're actually going to need 3 more of these. I'm just going to kind of line them up like this. And then our 4th one, and I'll put that over here, kind of back just a little bit, because we're also going to use, for this one, this is going to be our normal camera. So it's going to feed into our normal camera, so our normal texture will go on there. And what we're going to do is down here in our Arnold, we're going to click on the little Arnold tab, and in our utilities, and then we're going to scroll down until we see this one right here, AI normal map. Usually it's located right here underneath the AI motion vector, this little purple and blue dot right there. And we can just find it right underneath there. It's usually under there. That's how I usually try to find it the best. All right, so, and this actually, the output color from this one will go on to the input for that one, okay? And then we'll get all these connected up here in a second. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start at the top. I'm going to select that, and what I'm going to do is over here on the right hand side, when I select the box here, the file 1, I'm going to select over here where it says image name, and what will pop up is this, and it'll look in our source images, and that's where we put our folders for our textures. And this was our hand left. Okay, and now what I want to do is I want to find the hand albedo. Okay, that PNG. It should look something like that. And then I'm going to go from my out color into my base color, and you can see the little shader ball right up here has now kind of taken on that color. And if we looked at our hand and actually selected 6 on our keyboard, so hit 6, you'll see our hand will start to take on that shade. Okay. All right, so next up we're going to go ahead and do that. Let's see here. We'll do the diffuse roughness. I think this is going to be the diffuse roughness. So I'm going to go ahead and select the file 2 here. I'm going to select the folder again. I'm going to select into that folder, find the roughness for my hand. Make sure you get the one for the hand. I'm going to open that up. And this is going to be our out alpha, and it's going to go into our diffuse roughness. And I'm pausing here because it could also be our specular roughness, but we're going to try this one first. The next thing we're going to do is, once we select it, over here on the right hand side, we're going to select alpha is luminous. We're going to ignore the CS file rules, and then we're going to change the sRGB. We're going to find our utility, and we're going to select raw right there. Okay. All right, now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one, which is going to be our metalness. I'm going to select the file again. I'm going to hit the file folder. And again, into here. Find my metalness for my hand. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to go ahead and, again, alpha is luminous. Ignore the rules. Change this to utility raw. And then I'm going to go out alpha into my metalness and connect that up. All right, and out alpha into my metalness and connect that up. And that made it far shinier than it should be. And that's, so let's see here. Let's go ahead and try this here instead. Yeah, that'll work. So we're going to switch our roughness up from our diffuse roughness, and we're going to move it down here to our specular roughness. And then I'm just going to select this like that and hit delete. And that'll give us the roughness that we're looking for our hand. All right. Switch them around a little bit like that. Sorry about that. Now this last one down here is going to be our normal. Okay, we're going to go ahead and select the file 4 here. And then over here again, I'm going to select alpha as luminous. I'm going to change the rules here, change it to utility raw. And I got ahead of myself. I'm also going to click the file folder and go back in, find the normal for my hand. I'm going to open that up. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and connect that up, out value into my normal camera. All right. And if we take a look at the hand, we see that some of the characteristics from the hand that we made are beginning to show up on here. Okay. And the normal on this one doesn't have a lot, on mine anyway, doesn't have a lot of addition to it. It's pretty flat. If you've done anything to yours, you pick some of the other textures that were possible, you may actually have more happening on your normal than mine is, okay? So that was the first step. Now we're going to go ahead and up here at the top where this tab is, if I double click on it, I'm just going to go ahead and name this my hand skin so I know what this tab is. And I'm going to click on the plus for the next one. And I'm going to go ahead and find my fingernail. I'm going to middle mouse click on it, drag it down here. Okay. And before I forget, I'm going to double click in here and change this to finger nail. Maybe nails. All right, something like that. Select the node again. I'm going to get both my output nodes here. Okay. Input and output node rather. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to get some more texture. Select the 2D. We're going to get 4 of these again. And then we're also going to get our Arnold utility Go down until we see that little purple and blue dot. Pick the AI normal map underneath it. I'm going to select my out color into my input just to get that out of the way. I'm going to go back up to the top up here. Now I'm going to go ahead and select the file folder for it. Okay, and now I'm just going to go ahead and kind of rip through these without narrating. I think you kind of get the idea. I'm going to do the albedo. I'm going to open that up. Okay, next one. This will be the metalness since it's going to be on top. I skipped ahead here. Don't forget to change these. Okay. Now we're going to do the roughness. It goes into specular roughness. Don't forget to change these again. All right, and then we're going to do the normal map. Change these again. All right, we'll go ahead and save all this. Save my scene so I don't lose it. All right, so now the hand is basically done, but we're going to need to put in a sky dome, right? So what I'm going to do is go back over to my hypershade again. There's a couple different ways you do this. You don't necessarily need to do it this way, but I'm going to go ahead and follow through this process. I'm going to hit the tab here again. This will be my sky dome. Okay, and what I'm going to go do is up here at the top, select Create. Go down here to Arnold Light, and I don't know what I just did. It clicked away on me. Let's try that again. Create, Arnold Light. We want the AI sky dome right there, okay? And when we do that, this little node pops up. We can go ahead and over here to the right, we can select the little flag here. Select that, okay? And this will pop up, and we can just select the file for that. And it'll automatically add everything together for us. Now what we're missing is an actual sky dome, okay? Texture to put in there, so HDRI texture, and I don't know why I'm pulling that away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my stuff here, and let's see here. Let's find, let's go to, I think it's called polyhavennow.com. Okay, polyhaven.com. We're going to find some HDRIs right here. Browse them and just find something that you like. Right now I'm just going to grab something like a maybe this photo studio, and I'm going to go ahead up here. It's going to be EXR. I'm going to download 4K. If you hit the down arrows, you can change it to the different sizes, different file formats, and then right next to it you can just download. Okay, and then once it's done downloading, I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way, open up my downloads folder. Okay, and I'm going to move that into my source images folder. Okay, so there's my source images. Oh, it looks like it did have some in here. I could have picked those. And actually I already have a photo studio. We'll just pick this one. All right, so there we go. I have that in there. So now I'm going to select my image here, select on the folder, select the studio I just selected. We'll open that up. Okay, and it should pop up with the image up here, and then if I look, I should have my photo studio set up in here, and you can kind of move it around till you get the location that you want. All right, and maybe it's more interesting in that direction. All right, so now what I'm going to do is going to go ahead and find my Arnold tab right here, and I'm going to hit the play button, and we're going to render this out. Okay, and there is the hand. If I pull this down a little bit, scale this out a little bit. See what we're doing here. Okay, so if I move this background here, you can see different angles from the hands. Okay, and one of the things we can do is we could bump up the quality here a little bit, and it's going to depend on your computer and your graphics card. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the render settings right there, because we got a little bit of graininess in here. We can get rid of that. I'm going to go to Arnold Renderer, and there's this one called adaptive sampling. We could play around with all these settings here. You can fine tune them the way you want, but just for speed, and now this may slow your computer down. It may take a little while to render. It just depends. We could either use progressive render. We can also enable adaptive sampling. What it does is based on these settings that you have down here, it'll sample until it gets the best render it can based on the sample settings that you have down here. Now we can come back in and we can adjust these if we want, but in about 9 seconds we got a pretty decent render, and not too unhappy with that. We could definitely, you know, bump it up more if you were using this for, I needed a higher quality image, but for this I'm just going to stop it here. Like I said, you can play around with these numbers until you get something really amazing if you wanted to and you had time to wait for it. Okay, so next thing I want to do is I'm going to go to File. I'm going to save this image, and it's going to automatically, because I've already set my project to go to my images, and I'm going to go ahead and just name this hand demo hand. Actually, I'm going to call this hand because this is my left hand. Okay, and I'm going to call it 2. All right. All right, so, and that reminds me, we could also, if we wanted to, we should be able to select the hand here under this settings here, right? And what we can do is we can go up here to Mesh, select our mirror, okay, and let's see, I think I want to go in the Z direction, the positive Z direction for the world, and if this doesn't work, we can always come back and try again. We hit apply, and did I just freak my computer out when I did that? And then I'm pull it off of here, and there we go. We now have a left hand and a right hand, okay? And if those settings that I have here, so my world, right here I have my mirror axis in the Z, and I have positive set here, if those don't work for you, you can try changing the X, the Y, and also the positive negative until you get a mirror of your original hand. And now we can take a look at it here, and oh, looks like I must have broken something. Go ahead and close this real quick. Okay, so for whatever reason, the mirror function, which is what I would normally use to do this, is giving me some issues. You can see that when I do this, I hit apply, I end up with this weird kind of issue going on with my textures here. This is probably something I could troubleshoot and dig through until I found it and cleaned it out, but there's another way to do it as well, and I'm going to go ahead and show you the alternate method that you can use. So we already know that we want to go in the Z direction for mine, okay? And if your hand isn't having this problem, you can ignore the rest of this part of it. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is still mirror this because I want a left and right hand, but the mirror option is not working for me. So I'm going to close this, okay? You can see that my hand is okay right now. So what I'm going to do is instead I'm going to duplicate the hand. So I'm going to do a Control D. And I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it, okay? And now I'm going to hit W and I'm going to pull the duplicated hand over to the side here. And now what I have are 2 left hands. But since I'm going to go in the Z direction, I can go here to my Z scale, okay? And I'm going to hit -1 in front of that, okay? And I'm going to hit Enter. And when I do that, it reverses my hand so that now it is in the -1 scale, all right? So now I have a left and right hand. And again, if I render it, there we go. There are my left and right hands right here, okay? And again, my render settings are still set to the settings we had before. Let's just double check to make sure I didn't, yeah. Right here, so they're on enable for my adaptive sampling. And this is kind of what I come out with. So there we go. We've got 2 hands. A little bit of a hiccup there at the end. Sorry about that. But again, sometimes these hiccups allow me to show you an alternate method of how we could potentially work out the same problem, work it out with a different direction. So in this case, it still worked out, and we have this, and we're going to go ahead and again do a save file, save image, and I'm just going to go ahead and call this maybe 2 hands. Okay, there we go, and that is pretty much it for this video. If you have any questions, please put them down in the comments, and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. I don't always see them right away. Again, you can check out my YouTube channel, Putting on the Fritz 3D Visualization, and check out some of my other videos. If you liked what you saw, please like this video and please subscribe. I'll see you next time.